DefunctTV is brought to you by Privacy.com. Privacy allows you to create virtual cards for your online purchases, which helps you control your spending and protect your financial information. Go to privacy.com/defunctland to learn more. DefunctTV is also made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. In August of 2004, executives at PBS and affiliate station WGBH Boston met to discuss the fate of the long-running children's series, Zoom. In the meeting was Zoom's executive producer, Kate Taylor. Taylor had a long career in children's television, spanning all the way back to Zoom's original run in the 1970s, which she was an associate producer on. After Zoom ended its original run, Taylor went on to produce many other shows, including another for PBS, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Now on the 7th season of Zoom's reboot, Taylor and PBS executives were noticing a major shift in the landscape of children's television. The focus of Zoom was on its young cast, who would play games, make art, and perform experiments based on viewer submissions. The show's reality elements were groundbreaking for their time, but by the mid-2000s, the spectacle of reality TV had outpaced the charm of Zoom. On top of this, the landscape of children's entertainment had never been more competitive. Video games, the internet, and competing networks were posing a great challenge to PBS. While Disney Channel and Nickelodeon were thriving with new shows for both preschoolers and preteens, PBS was having a difficult time appealing to the 8 to 12-year-old demographic. This was the intended audience for Zoom, but Zoom was failing to capture children's attention. In an attempt to secure a slightly older audience, PBS created a new after-school programming block named PBS Kids Go. At the same time, the decision was made to end Zoom's run, and Taylor began developing a new series for PBS's new block. The goal of the new series was to take Zoom's reality elements and elevate them to the energy of modern reality programming, looking to the successes of recent hits like Survivor, Big Brother, and The Amazing Race. The successful elements of this genre were the outrageous characters, competitions, and prizes, and Taylor believed that a kid-friendly version of this type of show could be both entertaining and educational. She utilized many of Zoom's already existing resources to propel the new show forward, including partnering once again with WGBH Boston and pursuing a grant from the National Science Foundation, which had also helped fund Zoom. The National Science Foundation grant provided funds for 20 new episodes, with accompanying outreach and web activities. As a science-focused grant, the new show would focus on 3 science-related content areas: invention, space science, and earth science. The show was initially to follow 5 kids in a series of risk-taking and problem-solving challenges, teaching core STEM concepts. In December of 2004, Taylor and WGBH officially announced the cancellation of Zoom, along with announcing the development of a new show, tentatively titled Hot Seat. Taylor brought in a variety of creative professionals to tackle the project, including Glenn Berger, a writer from the PBS animated series Arthur, and documentarian Joshua Seftel, who had directed episodes of the popular series Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Improv comedian and voice actor Jim Conroy was also consulted on ideas for the new show. Conroy had some experience in reality TV, co-hosting a bar-hopping pilot called The Crawl, but he was also familiar with children's television, as he voiced the characters of Kenny in the Discovery Kids animated series Kenny the Shark, and Mr. Duck in the Disney series Mr. Pig and Mr. Duck. As the team pitched more unique, kid-appropriate reality show ideas, an idea was jokingly suggested that the show should not be hosted by a human, but instead, a dog, and the concept stuck around. The team thought of creative and technical ways to integrate an animated dog as a host for a season of fun science-based challenges. As the show's limited budget and target demographic prevented the million-dollar prizes and fly-on-the-wall docudrama of other reality competitions, it became clear that parodying the successful reality show template was more appealing than trying to emulate it. The pitch, in the end, was simple. A dog hosts a reality show where he sends kids out to compete in fun science-based challenges. Why does a dog host a reality show? Because PBS accidentally hired him to do so. With the funny and unique concept, Taylor and company were able to secure the grant funding for a 20-episode series, officially titled Fetch with Ruff Ruffman. Fetch was an acronym for Fabulously Entertaining TV with a Canine Host, and Conroy was cast as the voice of that host, a dog named Ruff Ruffman, a narcissistic and anxious host struggling to put together a reality show. 6 children were cast for the new show, Taylor Guerin, who had been a star on Zoom, would be cast as one of the 6 cast members, or Fetchers as they were called. The other 5 cast members were Khalil, Noah, Anna, Brian, and Julia. Continuing a tradition set by Zoom, the production sent the child performers to a camp to prep for the show and to get to know one another before taping. The children quickly formed friendships, and the show began taping during their summer break. Post-production lasted throughout the fall and winter, and PBS was thrilled with what the team was producing, so much that they greenlit the show for a second season before the first even aired. As production began on season 2, the first episode of Fetch with Ruff Ruffman made its way to PBS stations across the country on May 29, 2006. Each episode of Fetch with Ruff Ruffman started with an animated opening in which Ruff explained the stakes of the episode. In the premiere episode, titled 3-2-1 Blast Off, Ruff explained that this episode was the most important in the history of television.
I'm Ruff Ruffman, and you're about to witness the most important event in television history, the world premiere of Fetch with Ruff Ruffman. Oh, sorry, I went puppy there for a second.
Things quickly went awry as Ruff promptly spilled water on the all-important, show-running Fetch 3000 supercomputer. After brief technical difficulties, Ruff was able to resume the show and start its theme song.
Life was missing its mystique, my squeaky toys had lost their squeak. And then, out of the blue, I saw the phone, and bam! My destiny was calling me. Oh, I like that name.
After the show's theme song, Ruff introduced the live-action cast of kids with accompanying interesting facts.
She has 6 pet chickens, it's Anna! She wants to be a pediatric dentist, Julia! He once saved a wild turkey from a coyote, really? Noah!
The 6 arrived at Fetch's Studio G with little to no knowledge of Fetch's rules, nor the grand prize for which they were competing. Although Ruff awarded points at the end of each episode, as a parody intended for kids, the scoring for the show was arbitrary. The show focused more on fun teamwork and STEM skills rather than cutthroat competition. In each episode, the Fetchers were either sent on missions or instructed to stay back at the garage-themed Studio G. For the first episode of Fetch, Khalil, Julia, and Anna raced around Boston to various planets at solar system-scaled points throughout the city. After locating the sun at the Boston Museum of Science, the kids kicked off the amazing space race, gaining 10 points with each planet stop around Boston, laid out at a scale of 75,000 miles per foot. On the journey, each planet contained a clue, and a time limit was set for reaching the next planet. Pluto, still considered a planet at the time, was the final destination 3,647,000,000 scale miles away from the start of the Fetcher's journey. After completing puzzles at each location, enduring misguiding technical glitches, and traversing throughout Boston via cab, subway, boat, triple tandem bicycle, and foot, the 3 arrived at Pluto with a minute to spare. However, Ruff revealed one final puzzle, requiring them to calculate and build their own scale model of the planets.
So if Ruff told us the scale is 24 million, so if we divide it by 24 million miles, then we definitely should be able to figure out that that's how far away Pluto should be.
Oh, it's 152 feet.
Successful in their mission, the 3 returned to Studio G to tally up the day's points with Ruff. For the premiere episode, only Khalil, Julia, and Anna were sent on the interplanetary Fetch, while Taylor, Brian, and Noah remained behind at the studio. The Fetchers that did not go out in the episodes were provided their own opportunity for points through a halftime quiz show, presented by Ruff halfway through the show. During the quiz, Ruff replayed clips of the active Fetchers' journeys and asked questions related to what they learned. Kids received 5 points for each correctly answered question about their co-stars' Fetch missions. The show was structured in such a way that all players had an equal number of episodes spent inside and outside of the studio. Ruff also gave random bonus points at the end of the episodes, such as to Khalil for mentioning his name 3 times to strangers, or to Julia after getting poop on her finger. Point leaders at the end of each episode were given modest prizes that were sometimes unwanted items. Leading Fetchers got to pick whether to keep the prize themselves or to pass it on to someone else before opening the mailbox to learn what it was.
Through the Fetch 3000 time machine, I have transportated your dirty socks. If you look over to your right.
You guys are washing socks!
Each episode ended with an outro segment with Ruff wrapping up the episode's main conflict, adding backstory, or setting up future episodes. There was also a boilerplate call to action segment from Ruff directing kids to pbskids.org.
Not only do I host my own television show, but I have a fantastic website too. Check it out!
The show was a hit with audiences, capturing the target demographic's attention with its unique energy. The cartoon Ruff Ruffman segments intermingled believably with live-action footage of the kids in Studio G, or while calling the fetchers on location to direct the challenges. Conroy's chemistry with the kids was entertaining and charming, and the animations of the character provided a unique sense of humor and style that separated the show in the competitive children's entertainment space. The show aired its 28-minute episodes commercial-free on PBS, having received its funding not just from the National Science Foundation, but also from the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations, Arby's, and of course, viewers like you. Through the course of the first season, kids tuned in to watch the 6 fetchers compete in a series of fun missions. Beekeeping, kneeboarding, feeding zoo animals, inventing a new flavor of ice cream, and proving the cleanliness of dogs' mouths were all explored by the kids in their pursuit of points. In the episode, The Mystery of the Missing Thing in the Haunted Castle, the kids search for clues to find a missing invention of Ruff Ruffman's great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Raphael Ruffmanowitz. In the cooking-related Grandma Ruffman's Recipe for Success, the Ruffman family tree grew further as Jim Conroy voiced Grandma Ruffman, who would appear more throughout the course of the series.
Hi, Grandma Ruffman.
Oh, man. Hello, dears. Oh, the 6 of you look absolutely lovely. It's a pleasure to meet you.
The final episode of Fetch with Ruff Ruffman's first season aired on June 29, 2006. In traditional Ruff fashion, the character was ill-prepared for the grand finale. Coming into the finish, the competitors were in a close race. Anna was in the lead at 1,421 points, and Taylor was in last place with a mere 21 points less than Anna. Having still not determined the grand prize for the show, Ruff tasked the kids with suggesting prize ideas, and told them that the prize given to the winner would be based on one of their suggestions.
Now, guys, I love you. I'll give you whatever you want, but let's be reasonable. Mind the budget.
The final episode of the season avoided field segments, focusing instead on in-studio competitions to whittle down the fetchers to a single winner. As each contestant was eliminated, Ruff played a DVD of their season highlights and offered them a complimentary smoothie. He then had them relax in the Luau Lounge, a small pool added to Studio G for the episode. In the end, Anna defeated Khalil in a smell test. Thus, Anna was the official victor of Fetch with Ruff Ruffman Season 1, and was awarded a whitewater rafting trip and a camera. Ruff Ruffman would finish the season off with one last surprise as he informed Anna that the prize was not just for her.
You're all going whitewater rafting!
A true grand prize for all of the kids who considered each other great friends by the season's end. With that, Ruff Ruffman said goodbye to the first season cast for the final time. Ruff was sad to see them go, but he was relieved that he was able to pull off a successful first season on the air. Fetch with Ruff Ruffman garnered a strong fandom, and supporting educational programs were created based off of the show, including after-school programs and museum exhibits. Season 2 of Fetch with Ruff Ruffman followed the same successful format as the first, with a few notable additions. The character of Princess Blossom Pepperdoodle Von Yum Yum, a silent cat referred to as Blossom for short, joined the series in the season's premiere as an intern for the cat-averse Ruff. Season 2 also cast a completely new set of kid competitors. Nina, Maddie, Bridget, Mike, Rosario, and Willie were all excited to join the popular show and compete in the variety of challenges dispersed by Ruff and the Fetch 3000 at Studio G. The studio was also upgraded with a wall of fame featuring a poster of Season 1's grand champion, Anna. Throughout Season 2, kids continued to compete in science-based challenge adventures and halftime quizzes. Scuba diving, go-kart racing, neuroscience, puppet design, and more were mixed with science concepts and puzzles. The show also expanded the distance the kids traveled on the show, with contestants visiting Colorado and Florida. In Florida, Willie competed in challenges against a dolphin at the Living Seas in Epcot. And in another episode, Bridget and Willie designed roller coasters with Imagineers at Walt Disney World. Grandma Ruffman returned in Season 2, and new Ruffman relatives made appearances over the course of the season. Great Uncle McRuffmantosh, Helga von Ruffman, and Grandma's pet parrot, Jerry Geranium, would all appear in the series, all voiced by Jim Conroy.
Watch Season 2 of Fetch. It's terrible.
No, it's terrific.
Scruff Ruffman, Ruff's criminal twin brother, also voiced by Conroy, caused mischief at the climax of the season, stealing the season's grand prize in the penultimate episode. The theft triggered a CSI investigation, led by the Fetchers, to find the missing prize. The episode ended on a cliffhanger, as Ruff was left framed for the theft. Fortunately, everything would work out in the end, as the kids retrieved the grand prize in the final episode of Season 2. Like the previous season finale, the kids competed at Studio G through elimination games until a final victor emerged. Each eliminated contestant was again shown their highlights of the season and set to relax in the VIF, very important fetcher, Lounge, after being knocked out of the game. Mike won the grand prize for Season 2, this time a trophy. Fetch with Ruff Ruffman was greenlit for a third season, which began airing on September 29, 2008. Each season aired their 20 episodes within roughly 1 month, so that viewers could follow the Fetcher's progress and the storyline of the season. Chet, a helpful brown mouse assistant to Blossom, made his first appearance at the start of Season 3 and was present throughout the remainder of the series. Ruff's nerdy nephew, Glenn Ruffman, and Ruff Ruffman, Ruff's Swedish rock star cousin, also made appearances.
We have a saying in Sweden, when the rock is in your bones, the herring is in your soul.
What?
A fourth season was greenlit and began airing the following year on September 11, 2009. The premiere of Season 4 increased the scope of the show literally as it was switched from the standard definition broadcast to widescreen HDTV standards. The episode also continued the show's running gag of being on the brink of cancellation, with the episode being titled, Season 4 is Cancelled. The episode saw Ruff fired by the new Australian owner of the network, Harriet Hackensack, voiced yet again by Jim Conroy.
Why do I hate dogs when I was just a child? Rosebud was a sled I loved more than anything. One day, a neighborhood dog ran off with it.
Season 4 is Cancelled was further distinct in that it was a fully animated episode, featuring a more narrative story as Ruff embarked on an odyssey to restore the show and pick the season's fetchers. Uncle McRuffmantosh, Scruff Ruffman, Grandma Ruffman, Glenn Ruffman, the Ghost Pirate, Black Muzzle Ruffman, Blossom, Chet, and Jerry Geranium all made appearances in the Season 4 premiere. The grand prize was changed each year. It was a tradition that the kids would never know the prize until the season's end. Each season's winner was also added next to Anna and Mike on the Wall of Fame. In Season 3, the winner Jay won a gold-painted karate trophy modified with a golden ruff on top. Season 4's winner was Liza, and she was given the Helmet of Victory, a gold-winged helmet that had been the MacGuffin of the 2 episodes leading up to the finale. The series was greenlit for a 5th season, which began airing on October 4, 2010. For the grand prize of Season 5, the winner Marco received the trophy-like Golden Fetchie, and a hot air balloon ride for himself and the other fetchers to experience together. The balloon ride was provided by Ruff Ruffman's long-lost parents, Wink and Dinah Ruffman. While missing for much of Ruff's life, the pair had co-hosted a derivative competing TV show to Fetch titled Go Get It. Disguising themselves as the cat hosts, Tom and Trixie, the couple had attempted to prevent the evil organization PERS from succeeding in their attempt to brainwash everyone in the world into thinking that they were cats. This plotline, as many on the show, became a bit convoluted.
The fabulous 4 Game Show Island relics have the power to break through any force field, and you can also use them to make a pretty nifty finale competition while you're at it.
Season 5 concluded with Ruff happy to be reunited with his parents and singing a farewell song.
Have at it, son.
Our fun has just begun, but it's time to say goodbye. Just remember your canine friend, Ruff!
According to Jim Conroy, a cast of fetchers had already been selected for Season 6. Unfortunately, a manifestation of the show's own narrative, ratings for the series had dropped over the course of its run. This was due in part to initial audiences aging beyond the show's target demographic. The show was canceled before the production of its 6th season. In the final episode of Season 5, the last new episode to air and the show's 100th episode overall, premiered on November 4, 2010. The cancellation was disappointing to the contestants, fans, and the creative team behind the series, but Fetch with Ruff Ruffman was far from forgotten. In 2014, 4 years after the show's final episode aired, a spin-off web series debuted with Conroy reprising his role as Ruff Ruffman. The series, which focused on internet safety, was titled Ruff Ruffman, Humble Media Genius, and was available on the PBS Kids website. The series featured brief videos such as Texting in You, Photos in You, Searching in You, and Technology in You.
Wi-Fi, my hi-fi, my game console, my large screen TV, my cable service, my internet movie service, my GPS, and this cool thumb drive that looks like sushi.
After the shorts, Ruff returned in another spin-off series, The Ruff Ruffman Show, alongside his friends Blossom and Chet. The show, which aired in September and October of 2017, continued the original series' STEM initiatives with short videos and accompanying online games. The series also added new characters to Ruff's world with a trio of hamsters, Sadie, Mateo, and Tasha. These characters would receive their own spin-off, Team Hamster, a web series that premiered in December of 2020. For those that are fans of the original series, all 5 seasons of Fetch with Ruff Ruffman have been made available on multiple streaming platforms. Throughout its run, Fetch with Ruff Ruffman taught millions of young children science and math concepts with a comedic cast of characters and engaging educational missions. Starting from a simple concept, the show evolved into a complex, interconnected narrative featuring dozens of characters and storylines, all thanks to its talented writers and host. The series parodied reality shows and its own production struggles, and its talented cast of young contestants raced along for the ride season after season. Many of the young cast members knew even then that the true prize of each season of Fetch was not the karate trophies or the helmets of victory presented as awards, but rather the opportunity to be on the show itself and to meet their fellow contestants. For 5 summers in Boston, 5 sets of 6 kids grew smarter, braver, and stronger together with each adventurous assignment. And this spirit and growth was passed on to the young audiences watching at home. As Julia explained to the Boston Globe after appearing on the first season, there were friendships made on that show that will last an eternity. Write that down, please. Also, that I cried when it ended. DefunctTV is brought to you by Privacy.com. Privacy.com is a free tool that makes it simple to manage your financial life without sharing your real bank information. Privacy lets you create virtual cards to use for your online purchases. You can place spending limits on your privacy cards, which is a great way to keep track of your spending, especially with monthly subscriptions. This is especially great for me, because I am constantly having to sign up for streaming services for these episodes of DefunctTV. And I just found out that I have been paying $8 a month for Noggin ever since the Gullah Gullah Island episode in 2019. With Privacy's virtual cards, this would have never been an issue, because I would have been able to track my spending and place limits on my subscriptions. Go to privacy.com/defunctland to get a free $5 to spend on your first purchase for a limited time only. That's privacy.com/defunctland to take back control of your payments.